Dasan.
To my mobile data, my mobile. Okay then. Welcome to one and all. We have already held two episodes in this series where we are trying to understand the basics of our SriVaishnava Sampradaya. The first Upanyasam was regarding who am I? The answer that we found to that question was that I am a Jivatma that is by nature a servant to Bhagavan, that is Sheshatvam in Sampradayik terminology. So the intrinsic quality of this Jivatma is Sheshatvam Desi. That is, we are there to please Bhagavan, we are there for Bhagavan. So the first question was answered thus: I am a Jivatma who is the eternal servant of Bhagavan. So that was the answer for the question, who am I? And then we discussed what our purpose is, what our ultimate goal is. Usually the goal follows the identity. If we identify ourselves as eternal servants of Bhagavan, then the goal would be eternal service to Bhagavan. That is a logical conclusion we can come to. So in the second part of this series, we understood that doing eternal service to Bhagavan is our ultimate goal. And to achieve that, we want to liberate ourselves from this samsara. Okay, that was the conclusion we had drawn in the previous Upanyasam. And now, as the third part, today we will examine what is the means to achieve our desired result. So, today we are going to discuss Sharanagati, that is our means to attain Paramatma. And we'll also discuss whether that is actually means or not. That is also a question, right? So let's get into the topic. First of all, what is a means? The word used in our Shastras is Upaya. Upaya. See, there are some things that we need to be clear about. Let me give an example. In Shastras, we'll find that there are some actions that have been prescribed by the Shastras to attain certain results. For example, the Shastras say, Jyotishtomena Swarga Kamo Yajetam. If someone desires to go to Swarga, so called heaven, not exactly heaven, because the words heaven, hell, they have their own connotations. Okay. So not exactly heaven, but something like that. Okay. Swarga Loka. If someone wants to go to Swarga, he can perform Jyotishtoma Yaga. That is a specific yaga ritual, which when performed results in the attaining of heaven, the Swarga. Now, there are two things here. There is one thing called Upaya and the other one called Phalaprada. Okay. In our Sampradayam, we say that the result of every karma is given by Bhagavan. That has been clearly mentioned in the Brahma Sutras. In the Brahma Sutras, Vedavyasa says, Phalam ataha upapatte. Phalam, result, ataha, comes from Bhagavan. That is, Bhagavan gives the results of every action we take. Sometimes there is this misconception among Hindus that Bhagavan is nowhere or in no way related to this process of doing an action and giving the results. So when someone performs an action and he reaps the result, some feel that Bhagavan has nothing to do with that, but the Brahma Sutras don't say so. Brahma Sutras say that the result of every action is delivered by Bhagavan. And it is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Aham hi sarva yajnanam cha prabhurevat. I am the one who is pleased by every good action, and I am the one who delivers the results. Bhagavan clearly mentions this. So, when a person is performing some action such as the Jyotishtoma, it is Bhagavan who is giving the results. Okay? So what made Bhagavan give that result is Jyotishtoma. That is called Upaya. Okay. So there is this Bhagavan who gives the results, and what made him give the result is called Upaya, and that is Jyotishtoma. Okay. So there are two things here. Upaya is different, and the fruit giver or result giver is different slightly. So you'll find that in our, uh, Rahasya Granthas, the Rahasya texts, you'll find that there is this distinction that has been clearly mentioned by our Acharyas. Okay. Now, when we are speaking about the means, what we are actually speaking is the Upaya, right? What makes Bhagavan give us the result. Okay. Now, we have already seen that the result we want to achieve is eternal service, and for that we want to free ourselves from this samsara and attain moksha. Okay. Bhagavan has mentioned several upayas in the Shastras. Okay. Basically, there are three upayas that are famous: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Sharanagati. All these are spoken about in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone must be aware that Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, and those 18 chapters can be divided into three parts, six chapters each. The first part is called Prathama Shatkam, the first six, and then you have the Dvitiya Shatkam, the second six, and the third six. Okay, the first six chapters of Bhagavad Gita deal with this Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. What is Karma Yoga and what is Jnana Yoga? Karma Yoga is performing all the actions that have been prescribed by the Shastras without expecting any results. That is called Karma Yoga. Normally, there are many actions that have been prescribed by the Shastras. Some are Nitya Karma, some are Naimittika Karma, some are Kamya Karma. Nitya Karmas are those that have to be performed regularly. Those are called Nitya Karmas, like Sandhya Vandanam, that has to be performed thrice a day. And then you have this Amavasya Tarpanam that comes, every new moon day on the Amavasya. These all are called Nitya Karmas. And then you have some Naimittika Karma, those which have to be done during specific occasions or some other reason. Like when you have an eclipse going on, then there is a Tarpanam that has to be performed. Usually this is called a Naimittika Karma. These Naimittika Karmas and the Nitya Karmas, they usually don't have any other result attached to them. Why someone must perform Sandhya Vandanam is so that he doesn't incur any more sins, any more papa. That's why he has to perform Sandhya Vandanam. So performing Sandhya Vandanam does not have a specific result attached to that, but rather you just make sure that you don't incur any more sin. That is one thing. So Nitya karmas and Nimitika karmas do not have any other result other than preventing more sins, preventing more papam. And when you come to the kamya karma, you have many karmas, such as one we have just seen, the Jyotishtoma Yaga, or there are some things like Kari Rishti, Kari ya Vrishti Kamaha. If someone wants, rain in their neighborhood, they could perform a yaga called Kariri, and then they would, rain would fall. So there are many results for which specific karmas have been prescribed. These are called kamya karmas. So if you look at the Shastras, there are three types of karma: nitya, naimitika, and kamya. There are people who perform these for specific reasons. There are some people who don't want to incur more papam, so they perform nitya karmas and naimita karmas. There are people who want to achieve some result, so they are doing kamya karmas. When someone is doing all these, he is basically, performing those rituals for some result. That result could be not incurring a papam or achieving something else. But again, there is some result, some kind of result attached to all types of karma, right? So when we are speaking about nitya naimitika karmas, they don't have specific results. All they do is they make sure that you don't incur more papa. That's all. And kami karmas have specific results. But again, if you could bring them under an umbrella, they have some kind of result, right? Not incurring papam is also a result. So there is some kind of result for all this. When someone starts doing these karmas without any attachment towards those results, then that person becomes karma yogi. Now he's not thinking about not incurring sins. He's not thinking about, achieving swarga or achieving some rain, something. No, he's just, uh, he has uh, cut his attachment towards those results, and he's just performing these karmas, right? So there are three things that one has to leave. It is said, phalatyagah, phalatyagah, no attachment to the results. And then kartrutva tyagah, the person who is performing this must not think that he is the one who is performing, but rather he must think that Bhagavan is the one who is performing through me. So he does not think about himself as the doer, as the karta. So he must not think himself as to be the karta. That is the second one. And the third point is, he must not think this is something done by me. This is mine. That is called mamata tyaga. When we think about something as this is mine, then you have mamata, mamakaram there. So must also avoid the mamata, the mamakara. That is the thought of something being mine. That is mamata. So a person must not think about the results, must not consider himself as the doer, and must not think that that karma is his karma. So, leaving all these, if someone performs an action, that now is karma yoga. That is karma yoga. This is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Ramanujacharya has very clearly explained all these things, but this is what karma yoga is. This person who is performing this karma yoga has no other results in his mind. He's just performing karma so that he can. Am I now audible? Okay.
Yes, Swami.
Yeah. So I was speaking about karma yoga, right? So the only result that he has in his mind is the next level, that is jnana yoga. The Shastras say that dharmena papam apanudati. That is, when someone performs these dharmas, these rituals as karma yoga, his sins are washed away. Dharmena papam apanudati. Papam, sin, is washed away. So there is this person who is meticulously performing all these actions again and again without any result in mind, other than elevating himself to the next level. He is doing going on. What happens is, through many births, It is not like Karma Yoga, you start Karma Yoga today, in 3 years you will attain Jnana. It's not so. It will take many births. Okay. So after many births, his mind is cleared of all debris. That is, he has washed away all his sins and his mind becomes very clear, very pure. Okay. Once that is achieved, then he can think about the next stage that is called a Jnana Yoga. Basically, Jnana Yoga is the stage where someone is trying to know his own self. That is the Jivatma. Basically, Jnana Yoga is the meditation about the Jivatma. Usually, we are always looking outside of us, right? Like we are looking at things outside. When we try to, ponder over ourselves, or when we want to, direct our mind towards ourselves, it doesn't happen because our mind hasn't yet been purified through Karma Yoga. That is the reason we are not able to look into ourselves. But that person who has gone through this Karma Yoga would have got his mind purified. And now what he can do is he can direct his mind towards the Jivatma. Right? It can be understood in this way. Like there is a glass through which you can see. But if that glass has a lot of impurities on it, it won't be possible to look at the other side. You know, Similarly, you have this mind through which you have to look at the Jivatma, but the mind is so impure that you are not able to do that. So it takes Karma Yoga to clean the mind through which you can start pondering over the Jivatma. That is the second stage that is called Jnana Yoga. What happens is, I think, everyone must be, familiar with the older day tube lights. We used to switch on the tube light and it would take a very long time for it to uh, switch on. It used to like kind of uh, get switched on and then it would go out, then come, then go, and at last after 5 minutes it used to get completely on, switched on. So similarly, when one tries to get a glimpse of the Jivatma, what happens is, in between, the Atma gives darshan, goes away. Gives darshan, goes away. That person won't be able to hold on to that darshan. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice for one to get the sakshatkara of Jivatma. Sakshatkara is that stage where a person can realize his Jivatma. There is this subtle difference between knowledge and realization, right? If someone asks us who you are after hearing the first Upanyasam, we are now clear that I am the Jivatma. We have obtained that knowledge, right? But attained to that knowledge, we act as if we act as if we act as if I think there is someone speaking. Please. I can. So, though we have the knowledge of Jivatma, we haven't yet realized that, right? We act as if we are this body. We are just going again and again towards material benefits. So there is a difference between knowledge and realization.
Swami, last few sentences were not audible. Video.
This Jnana Yogi is trying to achieve that kind of realization, where he realizes what this Jivatma actually is. So that is the ultimate stage of Jnana Yoga. So in this stage of Jnana Yoga, one is trying to one is trying to achieve Atma
So,
Sakshatkar,
Swami Adiyan, voice break ஆகுது ரொம்ப.
realization of
Swami Adiyan, voice ரொம்ப break ஆகுது.
Adi, Adi. Am I audible now?
கேக்குறது சாமி.
Adi, Adi, Adi. Adi is, extremely sorry. As mentioned before, the Wi-Fi is down. I'm trying to contact that person. I don't have the number of the thing. Okay, let's continue.
இப்போ பெட்டரா இருக்கு சுவாமி.
இருக்கு, அது நடுநடுவில் போயிட்டு இருந்தது. அது நீ ஒரு இடத்துல வந்து ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணுவேன், இந்த வைஃபை அது ரீசார்ஜ் பண்ண விட்டாவா, அவருக்கு 4 தடவை 5 தடவை ஃபோன் பண்ணிட்டு எடுக்கவே இல்லை, பண்ணிட்டா வந்துடும்.
கண்டினியூ பண்ணலாம்.
Karma-yoga, Jnana-yoga. So Jnana-yoga is that phase where this person, the Jnana-yogi, is trying to attain Atma Sakshatkara. That is, he is trying to know the realization of Atma, right? And you have the third phase, which is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is nothing but meditating upon Paramatma. That too, not like, I have to meditate, not so. With immense devotion, with immense love, meditating upon Bhagavan is called Bhakti Yoga. To attain that kind of bhakti, devotion towards Bhagavan, one has to understand who Bhagavan is, understand how many good qualities he has, and then ponder over them with affection. So that is called Bhakti Yoga. Basically, the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is that you are meditating upon the Jivatma during Jnana Yoga, and you are meditating upon Paramatma during the Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so this is a very long process, and once one gets Bhagavat Sakshatkara, that is, Bhagavat Sakshatkara is that stage where you can, have a darshan of Bhagavan in your mind in such a way that it is as if you are seeing in front of your. So that is called Bhagavat Sakshatkara. And once that Bhagavat Sakshatkara is done, Bhagavan then makes a sankalpa. He decides that if this person continues to perform this Bhakti Yoga, I will liberate him. Okay? And it is at that moment that Bhagavan also clears his sanchita karma. So usually the karma one accumulates is divided into 2 parts. That is sanchita karma and prarabdha karma. Sanchita karma is that karma which has not yet started to give its results. So we have so much karma accumulated that Bhagavan cannot give all the results of all karma. Okay, so there are a lot of karma which are sanchita, that is accumulated, which haven't yet begun to give their results. So that is called sanchita karma. And then you have prarabdha karma, which has started to give its results. And that prarabdha karma may continue for many births, many janmas. So once this person attains Bhagavat Sakshatkara, Bhagavan decides that he need not have the sanchita karma anymore. So Bhagavan clears all his sanchita karma and prarabdha karma is left. As this person performs more and more yoga, that is, he's pondering over Bhagavan more and more, the remaining prarabdha karma is, washed away. Like he's experiencing the results of those karma and it is washed away. And once he experiences all the results of prarabdha karma, he attains liberation. So this is the process involving karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. there is a slight difference in Vadagalai school of thought and Tengali school of thought. In the Vadagalai school of thought, it said that Karma Yoga will always lead to Jnana Yoga, which will always lead to Bhakti Yoga, and then one can attain liberation. Coming to the Tengali school of thought, it is believed that each one of this, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, have the potential to directly liberate persons, people, and there is much more to it. Is there Jnana Yoga? Is Jnana Yoga required? Bhakti Yoga required? There are some explanations given by our acharyas. So there is slight difference of thought here that must be noted down. Okay. Okay. Now, so this is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita explains this process. In the first six adhyayas, Krishna mentions about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. And in the second six, Bhakti Yoga is dealt with. Then in the third six adhyayas, the things that are required for a person to perform Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, those things are dealt with. So till the 18th adhyaya, Krishna speaks about Karma Yoga, Jnana, and third, the Tritiya Shatkam, we have seen that the elements that are needed to understand Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga are dealt with. Coming to the 18th adhyaya, in the 18th adhyaya, what happens is our acharyas describe in this way. Arjuna, after listening to all these, that is Karma, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, he realizes that it is very difficult for him to perform all these things. I think that must be the mindset of people listening here, and the person that is me who is telling this. What realization we must have attained is that it is very impossible, right? You have to perform Karma Yoga for many births, Jnana Yoga for many births, and then Bhakti Yoga for many births. Attain Bhagavad Sakshatkara, and if you are not able, you have to take to wash away all the prarabdha. So it is not a very easy process. So Arjuna realizes two things. One is that it is not possible for him, or it is not easy for him to do all upayas. That is one thing. Just to attain devotion towards Krishna, it is said that Janmantara Sahasreshu Tapo Jnana Samadhibihi Naranam Kshina Papanam Krishne Bhakti Prajayate. Janmantara Sahasreshu. Try for 5 more minutes. If it's not going well, just give me 5 minutes. I'll reach Adian's home. There I have Wi-Fi. We can have uninterrupted communication. Now I was explaining that from Janmantara Sahasreshu Tapojnana Samadhivihi Naranam Kshina Papanam Krishne Bhakti Prajate. Janmantara Sahasreshu. In thousands of births, if a person performs a lot of tapas, a lot of jnana, and he attain samadhi, only then Krishna Bhakti Prajayate. Devotion towards Krishna is achieved. Just think about the words here. Janmantara Sahasreshu.
Basically, what we were discussing is that there are many means to attain Bhagavan: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Among these, each can be considered to be a different upaya, or they may lead to Bhagavad Sakshatkara through which one attains liberation. That is, a slight difference of opinion between Sampradayas. Okay, now attaining these things attaining liberation through these things is not an easy job. It's very tough because it takes a lot of time. So what happens is, Arjuna, after listening to all these upayas, he has two kinds of thoughts now. One is that um, these upayas are very difficult to perform. That is one thing that he has realized. That's something we also have realized. The second thing is, when speaking about his own greatness, Krishna specifically mentions that it is he who is the Swami. He mentions that he is the owner of everything. He is the one who possesses this Jivatma. He is the one who possesses all the non-sentient beings as well. So basically, Krishna has said that he is the Swami and this Jivatma is his property, his belonging. Okay. Now, that has triggered a thought in Arjuna's mind. If I am Bhagavan's property, then doesn't it make sense to understand that it is Bhagavan's responsibility to protect me? Because see, when there is an owner and a property, it is the owner who takes care of that property. It is the owner that files a court case if there is a dispute regarding the property, right? So when Arjuna listens to Krishna and Krishna says that you are my property, then this thought also arises that if it is Bhagavan who is the owner, then it is his responsibility to protect me. So now Arjuna also gets this thought that it is not easy for me to perform these upayas, and also he gets this thought, it is not right for me to perform these upayas. Okay, because he thinks if it is Bhagavan's responsibility to protect me, why should I do something? Okay, when Arjuna gets this thought, he is like, I cannot perform these because they are very difficult, and I should not perform this because it is not my responsibility to protect myself. That's when Krishna in the 18th adhyaya comes up with this great shloka that defines our sampradayam. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya. Whatever dharmas that I have spoken about, dharma is basically upaya. So Sarvadharman parityajya, you just leave all those dharmas that I have spoken about. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja, and consider me as your upaya. Sharanam, the word sharanam has this meaning upaya. So consider me as the upaya. So when Arjuna has this mindset, Krishna clearly mentions that you can leave those upayas and consider me as the upaya. This is Sharanagati, where you stop considering your actions as means to liberation and start considering Bhagavan as means to liberation. That exactly is called Sharanagati. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. When Krishna says you have to leave karma yoga, jnana yoga and bhakti yoga, he means that you have to completely leave them and perform Sharanagati unto me. So in our sampradaya, we say that if a person is still thinking about performing karma yoga, jnana yoga or bhakti yoga towards liberation, then he is not eligible to do Sharanagati. A person who wants to perform Sharanagati must leave other upayas and then surrender unto Bhagavan. That is what has been mentioned by Krishna in Charma Shloka. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. There are many meanings that have been, uh, you know, uh, there are many meanings explained to this verse, but since we have some time restrictions, I just limit myself to this. So, one question that I would like to address here is: so a Sharanagata, doesn't he perform Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga? So that is the question, right? If we leave those and perform Sharanagati, what exactly are we doing? The answer is as follows. We do have karma, we do have jnana, we do have bhakti, but what we leave is the thought that me performing karma or jnana or bhakti leads to liberation. Okay, so we stop considering them as means to liberation. That is what we leave, that is what we sacrifice. So we perform karma, but what we do is we perform karma as kainkaryam, as service to Lord. And while performing service to Lord, we need not do kamya karmas, right? I have spoken about nitya naimitya kamya karmas. We need not do kamya karmas, and there are specific nitya karmas and naimitya karmas that we have to perform, and with the mindset that this is service to the Lord. Okay, so do we have karma? Yes, we have karma as kainkaryam, as service to Lord. And then, do we have jnanam? Jnanam is basically knowledge regarding the Jivatma, right? Realizing Jivatma. Yes, we need that realization regarding the Jivatma. Yes. Okay, so do we have karma? Yes, we have karma, but we do it as service. Do we have jnanam? Of course, yes, we must understand who I am, right? That is the whole point of our first video. So we must have the understanding of one's own self. Yes, we have jnanam. And do we need bhakti? Yes, of course we need bhakti. We need devotion. We need devotion so that we can perform selfless service to Bhagavan, right? If at all we need to perform service to someone, we need devotion towards them. Without that devotion, we cannot consider that to be a purushartha, right? If someone asks you to do some service and do that with happiness, okay, do that happily, it wouldn't be easy for us, right? But if a mother is asked to perform some service, perform something for her son, she would happily do that. What is the difference there? The difference is the love towards the son, right? If we love someone, we'll be ready to do any service to them. But when we lack that love, we won't be able to happily do service to that person. So basically, bhakti, devotion, love is needed for us to perform our services, our kainkaryams well. So that is third thing. So do we have karma? Yes, we have. Do we have jnanam? Yes, we have. Do we have bhakti? Yes, we have. But we don't think that these three things as the means to attain Bhagavan. So what is actually our upayam? It is Bhagavan himself. That is the concept of Sharanagati. We stop thinking about, we stop thinking that something that is mine or something that I have done leads to liberation. That is the thought that we must push away. Now, this is how Sharanagati is explained in in Bhagavad Gita. Again, what exactly is Sharanagati is also explained through other verses. One of them is Ahamasmya paradhanam alayah akinchanaha agatihi tvameva upaya bhuto me bhaveti prarthanamatihi Sharanagati rityukta sa devesmin prayujyatam. What exactly is Sharanagati? It is said Ahamasmya paradhanam alayah. we have to perform surrender towards Bhagavan, right? We go to Bhagavan, we tell him, Ahamasmi aparadhana malayah. I have done so many wrongs. I am such a sinner. I have done so many sins. Ahamasmi aparadhana malayah. And then we say, Akinchanaha. Akinchanaha is that person who has nothing with him. Basically, if we have something to offer Bhagavan, then we cannot be Akinchana. So when we say I am Akinchana, I have nothing in my possession that I can offer to you, oh my Lord. That is exclaiming our Akinchanyam. Okay. So what happens is, when we go to Bhagavan, maybe Bhagavan asks us, and you have come to me seeking liberation, is there something you offer me so that I can offer you liberation? Then we must, show our hands, show our empty hands. I have nothing to offer you. The concept behind this is there anything really that we can offer Bhagavan that is not his? Nothing. When we ourselves are Bhagavan's property, that is, we belong to Bhagavan, then there is no chance that we can claim I have given something to Bhagavan, right? If I myself am Bhagavan's property, then what else can I have that is not Bhagavan's property? Okay, so if we think that we are offering Bhagavan something, then we are fooling ourselves. We are fooling ourselves by thinking that I am offering something to Bhagavan. Right? There is nothing in this world that we can offer Bhagavan, because everything is his. Even our actions are sanctioned by him. Everything that we possess are Bhagavan's property. So there is nothing in this world that I can give to you, Bhagavan. So that is the concept of Akinchanyam, having nothing to offer Bhagavan. And then, our acharyas also explain this in this way. If at all, there is one friend of ours who, who robbed our phone. He just, stole our phone from us, and later he presents that phone as a gift to us. Okay. Similarly, we have stolen that which is Bhagavan's, and we are giving that to Bhagavan again, and we are exclaiming, I gave something to Bhagavan to gain something from him. So this is the analogy, and that is really true, right? First mistake was to steal. The second mistake was to give it as if he is giving his own. Okay, there are two mistakes there. So there is nothing that we can offer Bhagavan. That is one thing. And then Ahamasmi aparadhana manayah. Akinchanaha. I have nothing to offer. Agatihi. If at all Bhagavan says, if you have nothing to offer, you can go somewhere else. Of course, if you go to a shop and tell him I have nothing to offer but I want to buy something, he would say, I won't give that. You go somewhere else. Right? If at all Bhagavan says so. Bhagavan won't say so, but we must, as a preventive measure, tell Bhagavan before he tells something that I am agatihi. I have no other gati. I have no other refuge. That is agatitvam, they say. So even if Bhagavan doesn't accept our prayer, we have nowhere to go. It is only Bhagavan that we have, and there is no one else who can protect us. That is the concept of agatitvam. This has been explained by Alvars and Acharyas. Kulashekar Alvar in his Perumal Tirumali in Dashakam, Tarutuyaram Tadayel, he explains this beautifully with many examples. He says that if there is a small child, very small child, a mother, the mother of that child, she gets very angry at that child and she just pushes that child. Even if she pushes, அரிசினத்தால் ஈன்றத்தாய் அகத்திடினும் மத்தவள்தன் அருள் நினைந்தே அழும் குழவி. That child has no other go, no other refuge. The child would just cry and come back to that mother. That's all. It has no other gati. Okay. Similarly, Bhagavan, even if you push me away, I have no other gati. I am agati. Ahamasmi aparadhanam alayaha. I have done so many sins. Akinchanaha. I have nothing that I can offer to you. Agatihi. I have no other refuge. I can go nowhere else. With this mindset, one must go to Bhagavan and tell him, Tvameva upaya bhuto me bhava. But again, I want some result. I want to get liberated. For that, Tvameva upaya bhuto me bhava. So, ahamasmi aparadhana malayaha akinchanaha agatihi Tvameva upaya bhuto me bhava. Bhagavan, it is only you who can be my upaya. This kind of prarthana matihi, this kind of prayer, this kind of mindset is called Sharanagati. Prarthana matihi Sharanagati. Sharanagati is of many types, but the important part in Sharanagati is to have this mindset that I have nothing to offer Bhagavan. I have no other refuge or I have no other place to go. And then Bhagavan is the only means to attain liberation. This mindset is called Sharanagati. Sharanagati rityukta sa devesmin prayujyatam. That can be used towards Bhagavan. So this is exactly Sharanagati. And regarding this Sharanagati, our Acharya say, there is no rules regarding who can perform Sharanagati. Whoever wants to perform Sharanagati can perform Sharanagati. Regarding other upayas, there are certain rules and restrictions. But coming to Sharanagati, there are no restrictions. Anyone who is willing to perform Sharanagati can perform Sharanagati. And Sharanagati can be performed anywhere, at any time, in any mean, in any way. Sharanagati can be performed. So there are no restrictions regarding all these things. You will find many examples where, Sharanagati has been performed by everyone. Like you see Gajendra Sharanagati, an elephant who has performed Sharanagati. You will see Vibhishana Sharanagati, where a person from a Rakshasa clan has performed Sharanagati. So there are no restrictions regarding who can perform Sharanagati. Whoever wishes to perform Sharanagati can perform Sharanagati. And then where, anywhere, Sharanagati can be done anywhere. So there are no restrictions regarding Sharanagati can be performed in this place. It must not be performed in certain places. No, Sharanagati can be done in any place, and then at any time. At any time, there are no restrictions regarding time also. And however you perform Sharanagati, it will always give its results. The only thing that you have to take care of is regarding to whom do you perform Sharanagati. Vishaya niyamame ulladu. If you perform Sharanagati towards a person who is not eligible, that Sharanagati will be resultless. Like there is an example for this from Sri Ramayana. In Sri Ramayana, Bhagavan Sri Ram, he performs Sharanagati towards Samudra Raja. Sita has been abducted by Ravana, and then Ram, he meets Sugriva, and after some time, they all, Hanuman goes and searches for Sita, finds her, And so all these people, they have started from Kishkinda and they reached the shores of the Indian Ocean. There Vibhishana Sharanagati happens, and then Rama asks Vibhishana what is the best means to cross the ocean along with this huge Vanara Sena. Vibhishana replies Sharanagati, because it is a medicine that has worked for him, right? Vibhishana performed Sharanagati and it gave results. So Vibhishana advises Rama to do Sharanagati. Okay. So Rama also performs Sharanagati, but it doesn't give its result because it was performed towards a person who was not eligible. The person performing Sharanagati, Rama, is filled with all good qualities and is the greatest, right? But the person towards whom Sharanagati was performed wasn't even equal to Rama. He is very low in status. So performing Sharanagati towards such kind of person won't give result, right? So you must make sure that you are performing Sharanagati towards the right person, and that must be Bhagavan. And even while performing Sharanagati, our acharyas prefer doing Sharanagati towards Archa Tirumeni of Bhagavan. That is Archavatara of Bhagavan. Bhagavan has many forms. Among those, Archa form, that is a form that is found in all temples and all. That Archa form is considered to be filled with all the qualities. Like Bhagavan is always filled with all auspicious qualities, but they are pronounced only in the Archa form. Like Bhagavan has immense compassion, but when he is in Paramapadam as Paramapadanatha, that form, he won't be able to show any compassion towards beings there because they need no compassion, right? Bhagavan can show compassion only towards people like us who are suffering. So most of those qualities like compassion and all, they are fruitful only when Bhagavan is here. So only in the Archa form of Bhagavan can you find all the auspicious qualities very in a pronounced way. So our acharyas prefer doing Sharanagati towards Archa Tirumeni of Bhagavan. That is Divyamangala Vigraha of Bhagavan. So regarding Sharanagati, Sharanagati has no other restrictions other than this restriction regarding whom you have to perform Sharanagati towards. Okay. And again, so we have seen some things. There are many upayas to attain liberation. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. But the best upaya and the right upaya is to perform Sharanagati. That make sure that you are doing something that is possible, one thing. And the second thing is, we had seen the mindset of Arjuna. Arjuna also felt that it is wrong to perform some other upaya because it is Bhagavan's property. This Jivatma is Bhagavan's property and Bhagavan will take care of this Jivatma. That is one thing. And also we had also mentioned that thinking that I am performing something that will lead to liberation is itself absurd, right? Because whatever we offer, whatever we do is all given to us by Bhagavan. So just giving those to Bhagavan and claiming something from him would just mean that we stole something from him and we are giving him back. Okay, so these are not the right upayas. Considering Bhagavan as upaya is the right way. And when we say that Sharanagati is the right upaya, actually performing Sharanagati itself is not an upaya. When we say Sharanagati upaya, we are saying that Bhagavan is the upayam. Bhagavan is the means. The act of performing Sharanagati is also not a means. It just makes us eligible. It just makes us eligible for Bhagavan to become the means to our liberation. So in our Sampradayam, we say that we perform Sharanagati. Yes, we do perform Sharanagati, but what we avoid is the thought that me performing Sharanagati leads to liberation. We try to avoid that thought. So there is this misconception that in our Sampradaya we don't perform Sharanagati. No, that is not true. We do perform Sharanagati, and only thing that makes us different from the other Sampradaya is that we do not consider that Sharanagati to be the means. That's all. So there is Sharanagati in our Sampradayam also. So these are some things that we need to understand here. There is one question that is frequently raised. We speak a lot about Sharanagati. The question is, where is Sharanagati actually spoken about in the Shastras? Okay, so we can find the Upanishad speaking about Sharanagati. Upanishad says, Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedamsha Prahinoti Tasmai Tamhadevam Atmabuddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Basically, this verse says that the Veda itself, the Upanishad itself says, Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam, that Paramatma who created Brahma, and that person who gave the Vedas to Brahma. So Brahma was created and Vedas were given to Brahma by Bhagavan. That Bhagavan, towards him, Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Mumukshu means a person who wants to get liberated. Okay, as a person who wants to get liberated, I perform Sharanagati towards Bhagavan. Upanishad clearly mentions. So we cannot say that Sharanagati has not been spoken about in Shastras. Upanishad clearly mentions Sharanagati. And coming to Taittiriya Upanishad speaks about a lot of upayas. And at the end it says, Nyasa iti Brahma. Nyasa is another word for Sharanagati. Taittiriya Upanishad says that Nyasa tapasam atiriktamahu. Nyasam tapasam atiriktamahu. All the other upayas, the Nyasa, this upaya, is greater than all the other upayas. Tapasam atiriktamahu. The Upanishad clearly mentions. So there are many means to attain Bhagavan, but Sharanagati is the right one, and Sharanagati is the best one that has been spoken about in Upanishads themselves. And you have itihasas like Sri Ramayanam, Mahabharatam, which speak a lot about Sharanagati. Sri Ramayanam is actually called a Sharanagati Shastra because it has so many Sharanagatis. Devata Sharanagati, Lakshmana Sharanagati, Bharata Sharanagati, Vibhishana Sharanagati, Samudra Sharanagati, where Rama performs Sharanagati towards Samudra. So there are so many Sharanagatis, and you have, you can basically understand when a Sharanagati gives its fruits and when it doesn't, because you have so many Sharanagatis performed in Sri Ramayanam. So there is a lot of mention about Sharanagati, or enough mention about Sharanagati in the Shastras. It is also said that once the great Acharya Nambillai asked his Acharya Nanjiyar regarding this. He asked, why are there so very less people who perform Sharanagati, and why are there so very minimum verses about Sharanagati in the Shastras? Two questions. The Acharya replied, see, first of all, you don't need a pramanam to perform Sharanagati, he says. He explains that with an example. There is a river in which a person is drowning. he looks at the bank of the river, and he finds that there is some person, able person, who is standing on the bank of the river. Now this person who is flowing with the flow of water, he asks that person who is on the bank to help him. He says, I have no other go, please help me, please help me, he shouts. This person who is an able person, he just jumps into the river and protects him, saves him. See, Sharanagati is as simple as this. We are stuck in this samsara sagara, this ocean of samsara. And Bhagavan is not in this samsara, and he is away from this, unaffected by this. What we basically do is, we just pray towards Bhagavan to save us from this samsara, that's all. Do we need some pramanam to perform surrender? No need. If you just need pramanams for Sharanagati, there are so many, and we have seen this. This is the answer given by Acharyas. And also there is this question, why are there so little number of people performing Sharanagati? The Acharya replies, if you take a village, there are many grihasthas, okay, and there are only one or two sannyasis. In those times, there are at least one or two sannyasis in every city. Now, we can count the sannyasis in our sampradaya in our hands, through our fingers themselves. Okay, right? So, does that mean that sannyasa is lower? No, sannyasa is a greater ashrama. The number of sannyasis doesn't lower or make it greater. Similarly, the number of people performing Sharanagati don't make Sharanagati a lesser upayam than anything else. This is what is said. Also, Sharanagati is not a very easy upaya to perform, because the mindset of a Sharanagata is very tough to achieve. Is really very tough to achieve. But that is the only right upayam we say. So now, this is what Sharanagati is. In the end, I have just made a remark that Sharanagati itself is not easy to do, right? Then people like us who have very weak minds, what can we do? What is the real upayam that we can accept to attain liberation? That's where our acharyas bring in the fifth upaya. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Sharanagati. Sharanagati was the fourth one. And as the fifth upaya, our acharyas bring in Acharya Abhimanam. The role of Acharya Abhimanam. That will be our next Upanyasam. Okay. So, we have seen that Sharanagati is the best upayam and the right upayam. Does that mean that Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga won't give us liberation? Yes, they do liberate people. Yes. But that is not the right way. The only right way is to do Sharanagati, is our Acharya's opinion. So, I think we have seen basically what is needed to understand Sharanagati. I'll let you ask questions regarding the topic discussed today. So Adiyan shall close this Upanyasam with this. So basically, if I wanted to present a bird eye view of what we saw today, it is simply like this. We took Bhagavad Gita, we saw what Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga is, and then we went to Sharanagati. We also understood the mindset of Arjuna that led Krishna to tell the Charma Shloka. Okay, that is very important. And we try to understand what Charma Shlokam actually means. And then we delved into this Shlokam which explains what Sharanagati actually is. Ahamasmi aparadhana malayaha akinchanaha agatihi. So a person performing Sharanagati must perform in this way. exclaim his defects, show that he has nothing to offer, show that he has no other place to go, no other person to go, and then pray to Bhagavan that Bhagavan is the only Upaya. And we are doing all this to attain liberation. Sharanagati also has the ability to give whatever result you want. That is another thing. But what we are trying to achieve through Sharanagati is liberation. Okay, so that is one thing. And then we saw some important things regarding Sharanagati, regarding where Sharanagati has actually been explained. So this is the bird view that I would like to present, and I would like to finish this Upanyasam now with deep gratitude towards all the listeners and our Ramanuja Sabha Mumbai for hosting this program, and to the listeners for listening to this Upanyasam. I am very sorry that there were a lot of interruptions in the middle. Wasn't expecting that. It usually doesn't happen. We have some ideas and Bhagavan has his own. With apologies, Adiyan shall finish this Upanyasam, opening for questions. Shrimate Ramya Jamatra Munindraya Mahatmane Shrirangavasine Bhuyan Nityashrir Nityamangalam Alvar Emiramanar Jiyar Tirvadihale Sharanam.
Swami Adiyan Dasan, Asmai Pradhanam Alya and the Shlokam is from which Grantha, Swami?
It is from Pancharatra Agama. Pancharatra Agama. If I'm not very sure about the Samhita, but it's some Vihageshwara Samhita or something like that. And actually that Shlokam, it is speaking about Sharanagati towards Sudarshana Alvar, Sudarshana Chakra. Okay. But that Shloka has been used by our Acharyas in context where we are talking about Bhagavan also. Okay, but that is from Pancharatra Agama.
Ariyat Swami,
Ready.
just one question. Is seeking liberation a desire?
Yes. When we speak about mumukshu, right, the word itself means a person who desires liberation. Okay. So, do we Ahirbudnya Samhita, right? The verse is from Ahirbudnya Samhita. Okay. Yes, in Ahirbudnya Samhita there is a lot of things about Chakratarva. That's where it comes. Okay. Right. So, desire towards liberation is a must. Sometimes there is this misconception that we must have no desire, but in our Sampradaya we say that we must have desire towards Bhagavan, towards attaining Bhagavan, towards doing his service and all. Okay, so that kind of desire is allowed. Even when we speak about Sharanagati, it itself is a prarthana, right? Usually we avoid doing any prarthana, but we can do prarthana for service, for bhakti, for vairagyam, for jnanam and all. So jnanam, vairagyam, bhakti, service and all, we can do prarthanas. Other than that, we must not do prarthana for material benefits. Yes.
Thank you.
Swami,
Again.
we can do without so much time in Sharanagati.
See, as Sharanagati is done as part of Panchasamskaras. Okay. It comes as part of Panchasamskaras. That is the way we in SriVaishnava Sampradaya perform Sharanagati. But there is no rule that it is only through that way one must perform Sharanagati. Because Gajendra Alvan, he performed Sharanagati without any Panchasamskaras, right? Sharanagati is just that mindset regarding Bhagavan being the Upaya. If that mindset can be developed, it can be developed by anyone at any point of time. But for some specific reasons, in our SriVaishnava Sampradaya, the act of performing Sharanagati is done as part of Panchasamskaras. Okay, but there is no rule that only that way one must perform.
Namaskaram. We are getting so many births from birth to birth. Is
Yes. You are not audible. I mean, we are not able to listen to your words. Again?
Again, Sriram Swami, are you asking question? Okay, any other questions from any other participants, please?
Swami?
Swami Adiyan Ramandasan.
Again.
Can Devi say a few words about Namarvar and his pasurams on Sharanagati?
Namalvar has performed Sharanagatis in many Tiruvaimaris. I mean, many Dashakams. Okay. The famous, there is this famous verse of Agalagille Nirayumenna. That is from Tiruvaimari, where Namalvar performs Sharanagati as mentioned in Dvayam Mantram. It is considered to be the Purva Kanda Vivaranam of Dvayam. Okay, that is one thing. And then you have four other. 1 minute. And then you have four Tiruvaimaris. It is called Notha Nang, which are from the fifth centum. Notha Nonbu, Aravamuru, Mane Noku, Pirandamaru. In those four Tiruvaimaris, Alvar performs Sharanagati towards Archavatara Bhagavan and also towards Krishna, Vibhavavatara Bhagavan. And there is a lot of things that we can speak. That could be one whole session. Yes. Basically five padigams, 5 Tiruvaimaris where Sharanagati is dealt with.
Adiyan.
Again.
Swami, when you told about Sharanagati, at the end, when you were explaining about how to do Sharanagati, this was lost, audio was lost, so couldn't hear it properly.
Okay.
So can you please repeat it? The Pancha, I think only later I heard that about Pancha Sanskaram, but when you first you told about how to do it, at that time couldn't hear it. Audio was lost.
Okay. So we actually did not go deep regarding how to perform Sharanagati. The basic concept was explained in the Upanyasam itself, that one must consider himself as aparadha alayah, that is a very sinful person, have nothing to offer, have no other gati, that is no other person or place to go. So it is only Bhagavan who is the means to attain liberation. That mindset is Sharanagati. Okay, that mindset is Sharanagati. That is the whole point. Everyone has their own way of developing that mindset. In SriVaishnava Sampradaya, it is through Panchasamskaras and through Acharya's grace that one attains that kind of mindset. That's all. Again. இதோட முடிச்சுக்கலாமா?
Pastor Swami, vote of thanks.
Adiyan. President Swami, Raman Swami. Kara.
அடியன் தாசன்
தாசன்.
சுவாமியோட 3 உபன்யாசம் நமக்கு வரிசையா ஸ்டெப் பை ஸ்டெப் நம்ம சம்பிரதாயத்தை பத்தி ஒரு நல்ல ஐடியா கொடுத்தது. ஐ மீன் இங்கிலீஷ் உபன்யாசம் இருந்தாலும் இங்கிலீஷ்லேயே சொல்கிறேன். So it gave us a clear idea as to how we have to go about it. You have to understand who we are, who I am. And secondly is the purpose and then the means. I think the 3 stages he has explained it very nicely. So I think we are very, very grateful to Paravastu Swami. I am expecting this kind of audience to continue for our further Upanyasams also. So we will continue on a monthly basis. So next Upanyasam will be sometime in the second half of January. We'll be doing that. Adiyan Dhanyosmi Swami.
He has put a comma. Acharya Abhimanam is still there.
Yes, that we will continue with that next one. Yes.
Today's session, even though there were a lot of interruptions, that is also a sample for us to do Sharanagati. No other way.
Yes. Adiyan Swami.
Adiyan Swami. Dhanyosmi.
Adiyan Dhanyosmi Swami.
Adiyan Dasoham Swami.
Adiyan Swami, Adiyan Dhanyosmi. Dandas are which place?
Adiyan Raman Dasan Swami. Dhanyosmi.